Now, the story of a 38-year-old Bangor golfer who clearly enjoys a challenge. He went from being a very average player to playing a round that any professional would be proud of. Claire McCollum has the details.
Meet John Richardson, who recently defied expert opinion by taking 33 shots off his average round, shooting a 1-under par 70 here at Blackwood Golf Centre. And amazingly, he completed his challenge in under a year. And that's something which is bound to surprise even the world's best golfers.
Well, I had an enormous amount of support from some folk, and then I also had a lot of very good quotes from some very famous folk. Sam Torrance was playing with a friend of mine, and when he was asked for a quote, the quote that he gave was "Dream on." So I thought that was a good one. And then Darren Clark, I sent an email to him, and he said that 3 years would be a more realistic time period to do it. And in the last few weeks, there's no doubt about it, I was starting to try and believe some of those.
But somehow he overcame that pressure. However, his achievement came at a price, as John had to spend every available minute practicing. And over the last 365 days, he has gone through 2 pairs of shoes, 7 golf gloves and hypnosis.
I hit about 35,000 golf balls in the range. I worked very intensively with the head professional here, Debbie Hanna, who sort of went through a lot of the highs and lows with me and kept me very straight along the way. I worked very hard on the mental side of the game too, because I was struggling with a lot of the pressure of it. I was struggling with, you know, how you can transfer all that practice out onto the course. And you know, I think there's no real shortcut to it. It was an enormous amount of work. But I think I learned a number of things during the year which maybe could make it a bit easier for other folk to do it at some stage on in the future. And
you set yourself a target of doing it within the year. Yeah. Just how many hours did you spend out on the course?
Oh, I don't know. I'd almost like not to admit that, because you know, there's no doubt about it. I was away from home probably a bit too much, and I was away from work a bit too much, so I'm having to work quite hard to rebuild those relationships.
And John has this advice for other frustrated golfers.
What most golfers do is they get their lesson, they go straight home, they then play a week later, they've forgotten the whole thing, and then they play badly in the course and blame the professional, and they just end up back to square one. So the number one thing is, you know, have the lesson and keep working at it until you get better.